And we are live all around the world. I love saying that because I love being live all around the world. Good evening. This is none other than your humble, neighborhood, friendly professor. Professor Toto, welcome to class tonight, everyone. I pray that every single one of you are doing well, that you are blessed and highly favored. I want to invite you to class tonight. So many things that we're going to talk about in this class this evening. A few things I'm going to go and let you know up front that we're going to be talking about that we discussed last night that I believe is hugely important. Tonight we're going to be talking about MEGA, M-E-G-A, not MAGA, but MEGA. President Trump created MAGA, but Professor Toto created MEGA. Make education great again. I believe that is the winning ticket for our president on his triumphant return very soon. Tonight we're going to be talking about what Donald Trump began to do before his office was taken from him, and what must happen now when he makes his return. Tonight we're talking about critical race theory. It's okay if you don't know what that means. That's all right. Most of the world doesn't, but tonight you're going to know, because that is what we do here at the Conservative College. We take you out of the dark and bring you into the light. Hallelujah. That's what we do tonight. So stay tuned for that. Also, there was a private meeting today with Joe Manchin and the Republican Party. I'm going to be telling you all about that, as well as a disastrous new poll that came out today for the Democratic Party, especially in the House of Representatives. I'm going to be going over that poll with you tonight. And then finally, we're going to be talking about Buy Walmart. Oh yeah, we have some exciting, amazing news coming up, and we're going to be right back in just a matter of seconds to take you into class tonight. I need to sing you a little song. The old country song goes sort of like this. 3, 2, 1.
I told you so. I told you so.
Props, ribbit, props, ribbit, props, ribbit.
Y'all ready for my song? Hold on.
I told you so.
Oh, I told you so.
3, 2, 1.
I told you so. I told you so.
Told you so.
Told you so. Hot diggity dog. Y'all ready for my song? Hold on. I told you so. Oh, I told you so. I told him, I said, my mama's calling. I got to answer. All right, everybody. Well, God bless you tonight. We have a great class. You're going to be so educated tonight. I hope you enjoyed last evening's class. It's received tremendous response at Rumble, YouTube, Facebook. Last night we talked about something that happened in the last 48 hours of the Trump White House. And if you've not watched that video, it is available on YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook. So make sure you watch that when this class is over tonight, and it will help you understand more about what we're talking about this evening. Now, before we get into our monologue this evening, a few quick announcements. This Sunday, I will be preaching in Covington, Georgia. That's right. If you live anywhere in the Atlanta area, I want to meet you. Would you come Sunday morning? We'll be there at 10 o'clock. Sunday night at 6 o'clock. We're going to be at the Freedom Worship Center. The address is 2094 Highway 81 South in Covington, Georgia. So make sure you come. Ladies, this Saturday, my wife, Mrs. Toto, will be ministering to the ladies at a tea there that Saturday at 1 o'clock. So if you're a lady and you want to come to a beautiful tea and hear my wife minister, be there at that same address this Saturday. Also, everybody, Washington, Michigan, we are almost sold out. Few seats available in Washington, Michigan, May the 23rd. You don't want to miss it. If you want to register, the link is in the description box if you're watching by YouTube. All right? So make sure you register for that event. Also, we are going to be, yes, ma'am.
They want you to get closer to your mic.
Okay. All right. Also, we are going to be in Miami, Florida, May the 29th. If you live in the Miami, Florida area, register. The link is in the description box if you're watching by YouTube. These events are going to be phenomenal. You're going to get to connect with your local patriots. We're going to have education, questions and answers. It's going to be wonderful. So make sure you're there. If you live in Miami, register now. There's only 30 seats left at the Miami event. Also, word came to me today that we are coming to South Carolina, Spartanburg, South Carolina. That's exactly right. So if you're in South Carolina, we'll be getting the dates available real soon. So you be looking forward to that announcement. Also, many of you contacted me over the past few weeks about digital currency, Ethereum, Bitcoin, and I was not able to get back with many of you because the response was overwhelming. But we now have it worked out to where someone can get a hold of you ASAP and let you know about that. So if you want to email me, I believe it's Toto's Army. I tell you what, just email me at brothervaughn@gmail.com and I'll forward that to the person that needs to see that, okay? Well, how many of you know, oh, and by the way, we're coming to California. Did you know that? We did a radio interview today, and I want to thank the precious host, Miss Blanca, that had us on her radio show there in California. It was a wonderful broadcast, and we're going to be coming there. She's getting a venue together that'll seat hundreds and hundreds of patriots, and we're going to be coming to California. I'm super excited. Have you ever heard the phrase, all men are created equal? Well, that phrase is enshrined forever in the Constitution of the United States of America. All men are created equal. Now, I'll be the first to admit that it took a long time in America for that phrase, that ideal, to become a reality. Indeed, America has a painful part of our past. We have a part of our past which is shameful. But it's not only shameful to America, it's shameful to the whole world. Because indeed, slavery was part of the entire world's modus operandi. Slavery has been with us since the very beginning, from Old Testament days, where people would go out and win a war, and part of the bounty of that war was the citizens. The citizens would then be taken as slaves. A horrible practice indeed, but the reality nonetheless. Slavery has been with us since Cain and Abel. It's been with us since the Tower of Babel. Slavery has been with us as part of our economy for all of human history, for all of human existence. But I'm thankful for a nation called America. I'm so thankful. For it is on these shores that our sons, even our white sons, if you will, shed their blood. Mothers gave up their sons to end this horrific chapter in human history. So it took us a long time to evolve, if you will, to the ideals that was always enshrined in our Constitution. Why? Because our Constitution, I believe, was given to us by a higher power, God Himself. I believe that it was God that brought those pilgrims to these shores to establish the greatest nation that the history of the world has ever been a witness to. And when they wrote this document called the Constitution, when they wrote it down, I believe it was by divine providence that that phrase was written from the hands of men that had not even yet lived up to its principles. But somehow, in a reasoning beyond their own reasoning, they wrote in that document that all men are created equal. Now, before that document was written in 1776, before that, a few hundred years earlier, as early as Christopher Columbus in 1460, 1490, way before America was created, there was a war in the Congo on the African soil, and true to custom, the winners of that war were the Europeans. And true to custom, the Europeans took slaves that was many times sold to them, but even in other times given to them as the bounty of war. Those slaves found their way to the American continent before America was America. Do you realize that North America was not always America as we know it today? And so we have to understand why this is so important, what I'm telling you right now. Because tonight you're going to learn something that is happening in the school where your children go, on the jobs where you work, that is attempting to decimate the truth of this history. Now, I told you last night that Donald Trump, when he returns, whether it is this year, as some are saying, or whether it's in 15 months, as the Constitution allows for, when he would begin his campaign, whenever it is, and I pray it's today. But I put my work with my prayers. And there's some of you that's watching me, and you send me emails. I read your emails. I read your comments on my videos. And you tell me, you say, when you start talking about 2024, I just turn you off, Professor Toto. I can't listen to that. I understand. I understand your pain. I do. Remember, I was there. I understand. And I'm not even mad at you for turning me off. Sometimes I want to turn my own self off. I'm not mad at you. I feel your pain. I know the disappointment, feeling like evil wins all the time. And so I have to ask you, when you want to just cut us off for talking about the future, I'm pleading with you tonight to send me a better plan. Tell me what the plan is, and I'll quit talking about the future. But until you can do that, I will not give the Democrats what they want. I will not go whining in a corner while they go winning in public. May I say it again? I will not go whining in a corner while they keep winning in public. We must shake off this idea that we cannot walk and chew gum at the same time. I agree we've got to deal with what happened in 2020. But I'm of the persuasion that while we're dealing with that, we can press forward at the same time. Is there an amen in the conservative college tonight? Is there any students that's grasping what I am trying to teach you? We absolutely work on the present, but we don't become the whiners that the Democrats want us to become. No, the poll came out today, and I'll read it to you in a moment, with devastating numbers on the House of Representatives in 2022. Devastation is coming to them because we are coming for them. Okay? So tonight I told you that when President Trump returns, if he wants to enlarge that base, which he must do it, that's a reality. He can do it on education. Because every mother in America, every father in America is concerned about critical race theory that is being introduced into the subconscious mindsets of our children. And I'm fixing to expose this for you so that you as a parent can know what you must go to your school boards and start fighting against. It is being released as I speak to you all over America. Mother and father, raise a patriot. Don't raise a zombie that doesn't know the truth. This is why before President Trump left office, he began to put an end to these asinine theories that's being taught in our schools today. He tried to put an end to the 1619 agenda. Do you know what that is? if you don't know what the 1619 agenda is, then you've got to get educated. We must educate ourselves. If you don't know what the 1619 agenda is, then you don't understand why President Trump instituted a 1776 commission. Let me break it down for you, can I? All right. Do you remember a while ago when I was teaching you about America and our history? And I taught you that North America was not always this great creation called the United States of America. At one time in North America, there were just 13 colonies on the North American continent. But that was not the United States of America. That was something totally different than what you and I pledge allegiance to today. That was a total different entity. That was not the United States of America. The United States of America, as we know it today, as a new creation, a new experiment, began in 1776. And it was there that these European men came with and established with their ingenuity and their brilliance the greatest government ever known to man. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the truth. There is no other truth. There's no such thing as your truth, the left truth, the right truth. What I just told you is the truth of history. However, the proponents of critical race theory, and I'm fixing to get deep into this, they created something called the 1619 agenda. They don't want us to teach that America began in 1776. No. They want to go back to 1619 when the first slave arrived on our soil. They want us to believe that America started right there and that these slaves were part of the creation of this nation in 1619. That's called the 1619 agenda. And this is what they want to teach your children. Now, why is this important? Because they want to take away from these European men, I'm going to have to say it the way it is tonight. They want to take away the creation from those men in their austere brilliance. And they want to bring it all the way back to the slaves that came here from the spoils of war and given by their own people, and tell us that America started with those people, not Thomas Jefferson and Ben Franklin and these Europeans, but rather it started on the backs of the slaves that came here in 1619. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a smokescreen. That is the Wizard of Oz that's glaring on a screen, but here comes Toto pulling down the curtain, pulling it back, because the truth is greater than the lie. This is their agenda. So let me ask you a question tonight. I want you to imagine with me right now that we have this beautiful mansion. It is built, let's call it a castle. It's breathtaking. It's gorgeous. It's awe-inspiring. It's elephantine. It's just beyond description. And you walk up to me and you ask me, tell me about the history of this great house, this great castle. When was it built? Tell me about its history. And I, as the owner, tell you, well, we built it 50 years ago. Its history started 50 years ago. All right. But then someone comes along and says, oh, no. This great house wasn't created 50 years ago. No. It was created 150 years ago. And as the owner, the man that had the plan, the man that shelled out the money, the man that hired the contractors, the man that was there with the brilliance to create it, I look at you and I say, how was this house created 150 years ago instead of 50 years ago? And you say to me, well, there was a man by the name of Jim Bob, and Jim Bob lived on this land in a tent by the creek 150 years ago. And Jim Bob raked the leaves on this property. And Jim Bob climbed the trees. And Jim Bob built a tree house. And, well, I don't doubt that Jim Bob did all of that. But we were not talking about anything other than the creation of this beautiful house, which Jim Bob had zero to do with. Yes, he may have been there in the history of the property, but we weren't talking about the property. We were talking about the building. In 1776, in the halls of Philadelphia, these men, these European settlers came together, and in their ingenuity and in their brilliance, they created a beautiful house. It was a constitutional republic. They built it in 1776, not in 1619. This is the agenda of critical race theory. Many of you have no idea what critical race theory is. But let me tell you what critical race theory is and what it's not. That way you'll never, ever be confused. It believes that racism, rather than liberty, was the founding values that guided the creation of America. You see, in those days, the ways of the world was slavery. Unfortunately. Horrible. Unfortunate. Different day, different time. They want us to believe that these founders created America with racism rather than the values of liberty. Then President Trump issued an executive order last September banning this teaching to federal employees and federal contractors. And then a federal judge blocked President Trump's ban on the grounds of the First Amendment, free speech. And then as soon as Joe Biden came into the White House, he completely got rid of President Trump's ban on these theories. Since then, federal agencies, federal contractors have resumed staff training. I want you to hear that. On an unconscious bias. So we've begun now in all of our federal government a teaching now about unconscious bias, microaggressions, systemic racism, and white privilege. Critical race theory is a Trojan horse. There is two men, white men, that are suing two California state environment agencies over this critical race theory. And here's what their attorney said. The attorney is David Pivtarak. He said that CRT, which is the fancy word for critical race theory, so I'll start calling it CRT. He said it disguises itself as the gold standard of fairness and justice. But in fact, it relies on vilification and the idea of a permanent oppressor and a permanent oppressed race. Its goal is not ensuring that all people play by the same rules, regardless of race, but rather they want equity, which is a euphemism for race-based outcomes. Now, I want to explain something to you, and I want to explain to you where CRT came from. It is the recreation of Marxism. The recreation of Marxism. Now, if you don't know about Marxism, came from the man Karl Marx. Basically, Karl Marx decided that if he could pit one group of society against the other, in his day, it was the workers against the business owners. If he could pit them together and keep talking about their plight, keep telling the workers how horrible their situation was, keep the conversation going, then he could cause a revolution. And he did. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Marxism is the same whether it's race or class. In our nation, Marxism has returned under CRT. It pits against one another the oppressed race against the oppressive race. I'll break it down for you. Whites against blacks. Because in CRT, the white man will always be the oppressor, and the black man will always be the oppressed. They must keep it that way, and just like Karl Marx, they must keep the conversation going. Never let it die. Never let sleeping dogs lie, as Granny used to say. Never leave good enough alone. Never, because if you do that, you cannot create the destruction of America that George Soros fantasizes about. Now, you have to be careful with CRT because they don't really call it that. They don't use the word critical race theory. No. Let me tell you the words they use so that when you hear them, your patriotic radar will kick in. Have you ever heard of the word equity? Equity sounds a lot like equality. So therefore, we're not alarmed when we hear the word equity. That must mean the same thing as equality. Wrong. It means the total opposite of equality. And then they use words like social justice, euphemisms such as diversity and inclusion, or culturally responsive teaching. Critical race theorists are the masters of language construction. They realize they can't call it Marxism, socialism, or communism, so now it's CRT. Now it's equity-based outcomes. It doesn't sound threatening when you call it equity. So from now on, when you hear the word equity, see, here at the Conservative College, we won't let you be caught off guard. Start listening for that word, equity. Equity. It does not mean equality. American equality means no matter your race, all men are equal. That is the American way. Critical race theorists explicitly reject equality, the principle proclaimed in the Declaration of Independence, defended in the Civil War, codified into law in the 14th and the 15th Amendments, and the Civil Rights Acts of 1964, the Voting Rights Acts of 1965. To them, equality represents mere non-discrimination and provides camouflage for white supremacy, patriarchy, and oppression. Let me tell you what their dream is: an equity-based form of government. Not equality-based, equity-based. Before I go any further, I want to break down for you the difference in a conservative mind and a liberal mind. The left side of America versus the right side of America. To a conservative, we care about the process of law. The liberal only cares about the outcome. As long as the outcome is equity-based, As long as the ends justify the means, then the details and the nuances of the process doesn't matter. Sounds like what's happening with the 2020 election, right? Process, legal processes. Follow me close. I'm talking about the frogs. I can't say things. All right? Well, the conservative is like, whoa, 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 whoa. Yes, you have an outcome, but the process was not equal. It wasn't fair. But they're like, it doesn't matter. The outcome was equitable. They want an equity-based form of government that would not only put an end to private property, because after all, it's not equitable for you to have private property and I have to rent a home. That's not equitable. Well, it may not be equitable, but it's equal, because you had an equal chance to graduate high school. You had an equal chance to go to college and have it paid for by the government. You had an equal chance not to do drugs, not to go into rebellion. You had an equal chance not to fight against the system and society. You had an equal chance to go and get your own private property. Oh, I know it's not equitable, but it's equal. They want to get rid of individual rights, and they want there to be a community right. They want to get rid of equality under the law. They hate federalism and freedom of speech. They want to replace all of that with race-based distribution of wealth, group-based rights. Hear what I'm teaching you tonight. Not individual rights, but group-based rights. Did you get it? As long as the group, everything's equitable, distributed evenly. You better wake up, America. You better hear your professor tonight. You better know what's coming, because only we can stop it. All the Lord ever needed was a small army of people that was committed to the cause. We can make the change. We can stop this train wreck. They want active discrimination, omnipotent bureaucratic authority everywhere. Now, in this case, this is anti-American. Equity-based outcomes is anti-American. Here's what one of the proponents of CRT said, and I quote. He said, racism is embedded in the U.S. legal system and the social structures so that you don't have to think about it anymore. And you can have racism without racist at this point. I want you to hear what he just said. He just admitted, one of the attorneys fighting for this just admitted, I hope you get this tonight. He said that white people are not racist anymore. He just admitted it. Because I know I'm not. I despise it. But here's what he said. He said, but now racism is so entrenched in our social structure that you no longer have to be racist to have racism. And then he said that you don't even have to talk about it anymore. You don't have to talk down about the other race. You're still racist. Even though you're not racist, you're still racist. He said you do not have to be an avowed racist in order for there to be race-based outcomes in this society. He also said that confronting this matters is going to entail talking about it basically forever. Don't let it die. Don't let the subject die. This is what they want to do. They want your children to hear when they go to school tomorrow how horrible your little white children are for being white. If I was a black man, I would be furious at CRT. As a matter of fact, I know a lot of my black friends that are. They despise this. Because CRT challenges, and here's what it says. I'm going to quote. It says, treating people with dissimilar histories equally, where some have been oppressed, can lead to unjust results and outcomes, thereby requiring a focus on results and outcomes, not on the process, with the goal being equal economic opportunity and equity. Are you ready for me to break that down for you? I'm going to make it real simple. What is the process? Taking tests, going to work, applying yourself, educating yourself. That's all the process that he's saying is unfair. Now listen to what he said. He said that the process is not where we need to focus, the work. No. Let's focus on economic equity. In other words, the white man should have to go through the process, while the other race, the oppressed race, shouldn't have to go through the same process, but they should get the same results. If I was a black man, that would offend me to my core, because here's what they're saying. Just because my forefathers were oppressed, I don't have the intelligence that it takes to compete in the same processes with a white man. That's what CRT teaches. That's what CRT tells their children of the black race. You can't compete with the white man in the process of education, in mathematics, in science. I'm going to tell every one of you something. I'm a white man. And let me tell you something. There's some black men that I would hate to have to get into an intellectual debate with. They're much smarter than me. Yeah, I can think. Can you think of a few of them right now? I can. Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah. The brain surgeon. Yeah, the black brain surgeon. My intelligence doesn't compare to his. He went through the process, the education, and you're going to take CRT and tell that man that he can't compete with a white man because we were never oppressed, but he was. What a slap in the face of a black man or a young black boy. What a slap in the face. This is what is being taught in the workplace. To be ashamed that you're white because you will always be the oppressive race. Let me tell you what that oppressive race did. It's built the greatest empires in world history. It's built the greatest nation in the history of the world. Our forefathers came here, landed on this soil. With their intelligence, they built this nation. I will never deny that. I will never be ashamed of that. I will never, ever allow you to turn me into an oppressor when I've never oppressed anyone. This is their goal, and you better be aware of it. And only one president has ever fought against it. One, Donald John Trump. And Mr. President, if you will grab this bull by the horns and begin making education great again, and promise these mothers that are even on the left, even those mothers that don't like you, Mr. President, even the ones that think you're crass, they'll give it up in a minute if you'll save their children from this insanity. You hear me what I'm telling you. Those people on the left that don't even like you, sir, they will sneak into the voting booth and vote for you if you will attack this insanity. It's insanity on every hand, ladies and gentlemen, what's being snuck into our schoolrooms. your little children are having to deal with the constant talk of racism, and they know nothing about racism. Have you taught your children to be racist? It doesn't matter. They're automatically racist because they're white. Perish the thought. Tomfoolery is what this is. Poppycock. We must go to our school boards en masse and demand that this CRT does not find its way into our children's minds. We must teach them the truth about America, the greatest nation in the history of the world. Tomorrow night, I have one of the most exciting programs that I've ever had. Tomorrow night, I am going to teach every one of you how to say bye-bye to Walmart, bye-bye to Amazon, bye-bye to Johnson & Johnson, bye-bye to... I'm going to show you tomorrow. Tomorrow night's our show. When you come here tomorrow night, you're going to see a way to begin your battle against the left. Never with violence, always with a strategy. And tomorrow night, I'm going to give you an entire understanding of our battle plan against the left. They think they have us by the neck, and they have. But we're coming out of that yoke of bondage tomorrow night. I'm going to have a link ready that you're going to be able to click on and find freedom from their craziness. Well, let me give a few... I wanted to thank a few people that had sent some precious love offerings to our church. I want to thank you. She asked me not to say her name. I'm so sorry. I didn't bring them in here. I'm so sorry. I'll call them out tomorrow night. And we have some wonderful gifts that have come to us. I'll show those gifts tomorrow night. But tonight I just had to deal with this subject and get it out there. Listen to me, everybody. I would love for you to come to Toto's classes, these revivals of the Republic. They're coming to your state. You need to come and join in with us. Do more than talk. Get in the front line. Help us hold the line, ladies and gentlemen. God bless you tonight. We sure love every single one of you. And tomorrow night, please mark your times, 8 o'clock Central. I'm coming back to teach you how to say bye-bye to the left, bye-bye to Walmart, bye-bye to those that have ignored us for all these years because they could, but now they can't. It's exciting times. Thank you for ordering Liberty Water. Matter of fact, Liberty Water sent the Conservative College a $600 check today. I want to thank you, Mr. Bryant Maud. We don't have a lot of supporters. We never asked for anything on this show. We have never asked you to support us, not one time. We did ask you to buy Liberty Water, and in turn, they sent us a $600 donation today. You'll never know, Liberty Water, what that means to us. It helps us come on here every night instead of having to work all the time. It helps us focus on the Conservative College. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Liberty Water. Make sure you order your Liberty Water at libertywaterusa.com. Help a patriotic business. Don't give your money to China anymore or Fuji Water. Give it to Liberty Water and get it delivered right to your door. Well, God bless you. I hope to hear from you. Email me. I love hearing from you. Thank you. If you want to find all of our ways to contact us, it's in the description box below. I pray that you have a great evening. Share this knowledge with everybody you know. Good night.